Greetings. A little over 7.5 years ago, I made a fairly popular video titled Muhammad in the Bible, Songs 5:16, which argued against the claim that the relevant biblical verse mentioned Muhammad by name. Today, I wanted to offer a quick addendum to make a grammatical point about the text. I see a lot of people discussing this verse, but I see very little discussion about the grammar, which is strange. Whatever the case, I may make more videos on this subject in the future. However, in this video, I want to focus on the first four words of Songs 5:16, Hiko Mamtakim Wehulo Mahamadim. There are actually two different ways to understand this text, and I would like to explore them briefly here in this video. As we go through this, the point to keep in mind is that the context provides a sort of grammatical scope for understanding the text, which some Muslims like to zero in on when claiming that Muhammad is mentioned in the Bible. For the first approach, consider the structure of the first two words, hiko mamtakim. The word hech is a noun meaning mouth. Attached to it is a third-person masculine singular possessive suffix. So hiko is his mouth. It is fairly standard to then understand the noun with possessive suffix as being modified by an adjective, in this case, mamtakim. Interestingly, the adjective is in the plural. I've seen some say that this is to signify that it's intensified. A less popular, perhaps fringe position I've seen is that the adjective is plural because the noun hek refers to multiple parts within the mouth, like the palate, the jaws, or whatever. Whatever the case, this understanding is what leads to popular translations like, his mouth is most sweet. With the structure of the first two words in mind, we can understand the third and fourth words in the same fashion. Skipping past the conjunction at the beginning, we have the noun kol, which means all, and then it too has attached to it the same possessive suffix, which hech did. So kulo means his all, or his whole, the whole of him, the entirety of him, his entirety. And then it can be understood as being modified by an adjective. And again, the adjective is plural. Some might say it's intensified, perhaps others might say it's referring to all of his parts. Either way, the translation would be along the lines of all of him is lovely, or his entirety is desirable. The salient point is that kulo Muhammadim can be read as having the same grammatical structure as hiko mamtakim. If we are to treat the first two words as having a noun with possessive suffix modified by an adjective, what textual indicator precludes understanding the third and fourth words in the same way? It seems obvious that their grammatical structures are identical. Therefore, to claim that the fourth word has to be referring to a person named Muhammad is on par with claiming that the second word has to be referring to a person named Mamtak. So that's one way to understand the text. But as I mentioned a short while ago, there's a second possible approach. In this alternative approach, or this alternative reading, we can understand each line as having a noun, followed by a possessive suffix, and then followed by a thing or multiple things which the subject noun is being compared to. If we start reading from verse 11, we can find multiple examples of this sort of structure. I'm not going to read the entirety of the text from verse 11 to verse 16, but I will note the places where examples of this pattern are found. In verse 11, we have Rosho Ketempaz, comparing his head to fine gold or pure gold, literally gold. In verse 14, we see Yadayo Gelile Zahab, comparing his hands or arms to rods of gold. In verse 15, we see Shokayo Amudei Shesh, comparing his legs to pillars of marble. With those examples in mind, we can now return to verse 16, where we have Hiko Mamtakim, which can be understood as comparing his mouth to sweet things, to sweets. And then finally, the next part of verse 16, Kulo Mahamadim, which can be understood as comparing his entirety to desirable things. In conclusion, regardless of which of the two approaches laid out here that one takes, The preceding text provides a pattern for interpreting the word which proponents of the Muhammad in the Bible argument try to zero in on. There's nothing in the grammatical structure of the verse which necessitates that it has to be referring to a person by name. Those who argue that it has to be referring to a person by name need to discuss the grammar and show that they have a consistent approach to the grammatical structure of the portion they wish to focus on, as well as the grammatical structures found in the preceding text. On that note, as I said, I may have more videos on this subject to come, but I look forward to the comments of others on this small addendum. God bless.